by the Backstreet Boys. I can't remember the name of the song. Something like Something With My Heart. And I'm not into that music, so I mean, I apologize if I'm butchering any titles. So, Rob and I are on from 6 to 9, and we meet Valerie after that. And I meet Valerie. Rob probably already knew her because they both went to school there. Rob's graduating that year, whatever. So Valerie saw something in me. As a matter of fact, I talked to her the other day, maybe a few weeks ago. We were just talking about whatever. I think this is when I first got this Spreaker, and I, half an hour shows, whatnot. And I basically, we talked about my radio show, and she said, man, I tell you what. First off, I said, I remember meeting you when Rob was training me on WHSN. Oh, yes, I remember that too. And she said to me something that was just, I don't know. When somebody tells you something like this, it just drives the heck out of you. It just makes you want to go, and go. She says, I knew right then and there, that you had the drive to do this. Boy, was she right. So that's that. I started that, and then what is it? Next week, I'm on the air for a week, and Saturday morning, 6 to 9. Next week, I get a call I get informed by Ben that I could do my country show, because one of the stations, and I'm done mentioning stations because I really have a bad feeling I'm going to get somebody in trouble. I don't think I am, but I don't know. Well, I don't think I am. Z107.3 went to Top 40 station, and they were basically playing the same music as WHSN. So Ben's like, if you want to do your country show, have at it. Oh, really? That's awesome. Now, very first country song I played, and as a matter of fact, I did this when I did a radio show at my house at the time. The very first two songs I played were I played "So Much for Pretending" by Brian White, and back to back with that I played, and I liked songs that stopped cold. Like "So Much for Pretending" would be like "So Much for Pretending," and then it would stop. It was done. Then the next song would start. So I would love it to try to make other songs start right on cue, like basically tight radio shows. I love tight radio shows, as you can tell. So I played "So Much for Pretending," and then I played "Let's Go to Vegas" by Faith Hill. Now, I was talking to my mom, and she told me that when she heard the country song on WHSN, she started crying. And, well, I don't think she was bawling uncontrollably. I think she just shed a tear because, I made it. I'm living a dream. I'm playing country music on the radio. And, it just goes to show, really, what kind of parents I have. So, for them to do that, have that kind of reaction, that's a big deal. So Rob and I worked together that summer, and that works out pretty good. And 1998, I'm pretty much on my own. Now, I'm on my own to the point where I'm just on my own. But I know the equipment enough that I got it. I just got it. So when I was on the air in 1998, I worked Friday mornings from 8 to what would be noon. Here's how dedicated I am in radio. Not to say that anybody else isn't, but... And I'm not trying to show myself off as somebody that's better than anybody else, but... the next guy would be on, supposedly, the next person would be on from 12 to 4. I'm on the air from 8 to noon, and the next person's on from 12 to 4. Here's the problem with that. It's the summertime, it's really hot, and who wants to be inside stuck in a radio studio besides me? Yeah. I mean, really? Who does want to be in a hot radio studio besides me? I'll tell you what. The reason I ask that twice is because when that person wouldn't show up at midnight, wow. When the person wouldn't show up at noon, I was there till 4. My parents were okay with that. It was only 4 o'clock. They were at work anyway. So I did that, and they let me have my country show in 98, 99. I can't remember, 99, I 99, I was still doing my country show, and as a matter of fact, Chris Powers got hired at Q106.5, and I was a big fan of his because I remember him from when he was Ben Austin at WTHT in Portland, 107.5 at the time. And so I don't know, I just thought, and still do, think that Chris Powers has pipes beyond belief. And I called my friend Jamie Lynn at the time, and she's still my friend to this day, obviously. But here I am kicking everything around. I called Jamie Lynn, and I says, I want to work with Chris Powers. Like, this guy's awesome. I want to work with this dude. Like, I don't know how to call somebody up and say, hey, look, I want to work with you. Come on my show. Because I'll tell you what, radio people to me at that time, and still to this day, like people at the Q or the Bear, or the people that know me, that I know. Like, for example, Cindy Campbell was like Babe Ruth. Definitely. Cindy Campbell was Babe Ruth of radio. Nelson Jewell, Michael Jordan of radio. I mean, who doesn't want to hang out with, what kid doesn't want to hang out with Michael Jordan and shoot baskets all day, right? What now adult doesn't want to have those two people and everybody else that's in his corner? So I was like, Jamie, what do I do? I want to work with this guy. Look, just send him an email. Tell him how you feel. I emailed him at the Q site, and we got in contact. And I was like, hey, man, I got a perfect idea, because he worked at Q106.5, and he can't be on the air anywhere else. All right, well, here's an idea. Why don't you use Ben Austin? All right, great. So we'll do that. So he did that, and he was on the air with me for an hour, which I'll take it. I'm not going to, I'm trying not to be a give an inch, take a foot kind of guy. But I was nervous during that show, and I'll tell you why. Because when you have a high-profile person like that, and to me, he was high-profile. Where did he work? Q106.5. I mean, man, I love that station. I love the people there, even to this day. Those people mean the world to me. Guys like J.R. Mitchell that know, I mean, I saw J.R. Mitchell at the egg ride for Pine Tree Camp, and he said hi to me before I said hi to him. I tell you what, man, that's, you've almost made it when something like that happens. You don't have to be like, hey, JR, he's like, hey, Derek, how's it going? It's like, wow, it's just like, pinch me. Did that really happen? Not to say that he's not a nice guy, because he is, but I mean, J.R. Mitchell's like, oh man, if you're gonna compare J.R. Mitchell to a sports guy, J.R. Mitchell, I'm going to use professional bowling. J.R. Mitchell is probably the Don Carter of radio. I mean, he is a legend. He worked at Hot Country 97 in Presque Isle, not the same station I was talking about earlier. And I mean, this dude has pipes, man. J.R. Mitchell is one of the best sounding people on radio today. Like, if he ever, I'll be honest though, if he ever went and did another format other than country, I may retire. I may retire from radio because J.R. Mitchell doing any other format other than country is like taking ham and cheese and putting it on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Does that go together? No, not even for 5 seconds. So I mean, you know, that's how you know you made it. So anyway, Chris and I work together, and see, I can babble, but like I said, I know where I'm going with what I'm saying, and it's all going to lead up somewhere. But those people are big players in my future. They're big. Every time I do a show, I always want people like them to listen to me. I really do. Because for J.R. Mitchell, for example, for J.R. Mitchell to listen to my podcast, right? Today's Hot New Country B105.7, for him to listen to that and listen. I mean, he's not going to listen for 3 hours, but maybe he might. And for him to say, "You got talent," would be like, I don't know, just be like, I don't know, somebody winning Publishers Clearinghouse or something like that. It'd just be like, wow. So, I mean, somebody who's the station manager telling you have talent, big deal. That'd be a big deal. You know you made it. And I feel like I've made it anyway because of you, because of all of you, people that listen, people that, you know, listen. This podcast isn't meant to be taken seriously. This podcast is kind of a lighthearted podcast. I don't even call the other shows a podcast. I call it, you know, a radio station. I don't want them to be treated like podcasts because that's really what they're not. It's me on the air on a radio station. That's what I'm trying to get. So, I mean, just thank you to those people that I've just mentioned. That, I mean, you guys mean the world to me, and you just do. You don't. I mean, I'm gonna compare radio to professional bowling. I was watching a thing on Norm Duke. He was talking about what he, you know, when he was growing up, he used to watch Jim Stefanich on Saturday afternoons, and he said what Jim Stefanich did for me on Saturdays that he'll never know about is priceless. So what the radio people that I mentioned, Rob, JR, Cindy, Nelson, Gary Bingham, Jamie Lynn, and I'm leaving Jason Hill out. I'll get to how I met Jason Hill in just a moment. But Jason Hill, no, so let me throw him in there in the mix. And the reason I got into radio, the reason I wanted to be in radio was because of Steve McKay and Mike Hale. Anytime somebody ever asks me, why do you want to be in radio, Derek? Whoever inspired you to be in radio? Steve McKay and Mike Hale. Period. End of discussion. So it's just like Garth Brooks talking about thanking George Strait, George Jones every award show, whether it's ACM, CMAs. Steve McKay and Mike Hale, you guys, it's all your fault that I want to be in radio. And I can't thank you enough. I don't want to stop thanking you, because you guys really, see, radio to some people is just a job that I don't know if they're trying to inspire anybody. I know if they do, then they feel gratified, they feel